Welcome everyone to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I really appreciate it. I know I say it every time, but I really mean it every time. I love this. I love the opportunity to share and your comments. So I just have to say thank you. All right, so today we are talking about your unique gifts. Now, this is a message that came from Spirit, and they asked me to bring this through. They were actually a little insistent that I bring it through ASAP. Now, it's interesting that this message is going to be released once we have stepped into the eclipse season officially. The reason why is so much of this purpose of what the eclipses are going to reveal for us is not only these really interesting kind of universal alignments and synchronicities, but all of that is to reveal to us our unique gifts, like to give you more clarity as to why you're here. And that is a question that so many people ask. I have to tell you, so often in readings, people will say, what is my purpose? Why am I here? I don't understand why I'm here. What am I meant to do? I just feel like I go 9 to 5 every day, day in, day out, and I come home, same. What am I doing here? So much a part of our human experience, whether it is in an extreme way or a very minute way, is to reveal the gifts within our spirit, reveal the gifts within our soul, and bring them into human form. Now, that might sound very lofty for some, but this doesn't just mean spiritual gifts. This does not just mean everybody needs to open their minds and become a medium. These are gifts of knowledge, of ingenuity, of creativity, of presence, of strength, of innovation. Like, I'm talking about unique gifts in the form of maybe somebody ends up going into forestry and they are able to revolutionize the way that the forest industry moves through our world and actually has a lesser impact on the planet. Right? Maybe this is somebody who becomes a doctor and they create this amazing modality for healing that is so less invasive than what it was before. Those are also unique gifts. Maybe your gift is creating a space within your family that is such a safe space. So many people feel they can turn to you and begin to heal ancestral lines of trauma, of isolation, of abandonment, you name it. Unique gifts are what are desiring to come out to express themselves from you, but we have to undo these perceived limitations in the world around us and within ourselves, that we are unworthy, that we don't matter enough, that, if I haven't figured it out now, there must not be anything. And one of the things that Spirit wants to encourage us to do is to look at our lives right now, to become really curious. Almost like become a correspondent for yourself about your life and then report back to yourself. Because here's the thing, sometimes we are so busy living our lives that we're not actually observing it, we're just kind of doing. And that's when we can easily get into that rut of, say, 9 to 5. However, and I'm not saying 9 to 5 is bad for everybody. However, when we start to observe how we're moving through that day and what feels right about that day, what doesn't feel right about that day, and then start to consciously choose, in those conscious choices of choosing, we actually are taking the steps to revealing our unique gifts. For example, say you go to work every day, you really don't like the commute, it bothers you, you miss your workouts, all of this kind of stuff. So instead, what you decide to do once you observe that is you decide to do something a little bit radical. You buy yourself a bike and you begin riding to work. And in that ride, not only are you changing up the frequency of your energy by moving your body and getting some exercise, which releases endorphins, gives you more creativity, but the peacefulness you feel in that ride to work allows you those moments of creativity to get to know yourself better, because you're not sitting in traffic getting frustrated by, collisions or flat tires or you name it. These little shifts in your perspective and then your choices allows you to make space for where your unique gifts come out. And how many times have we heard people say that, I came up with this amazing idea while I was chopping wood, or while I was painting my house, or something. Like, when we shift up the frequency And it doesn't have to be something profound like a giant journey into the Amazon where you found yourself. Not that that's a negative. But when we change something to have it align with us a little bit more, even in a way of just riding our bike to work, we open up the pathways for those frequencies to come through that allow our unique gifts to be expressed. Now, the reason why this is so important right now is because, as you all know, we are going through a massive paradigm shift. Massive paradigm shift. In fact, I'm going to be talking about one aspect of this in Cosmic Consciousness on Wednesday, October 18th. So if you are feeling curious, I'm going to be talking about what that looks like on a galactic level as per my guides and what they downloaded to me, as well as where it's rooted in our cultures and how it even connects back into the 7 deadly sins. And so then that led me to a conversation with Mary Magdalene and her spirit. We have these potentials right now to shift the very roots of our frequencies with knowledge so that we can unlock our unique gifts. Gifts that are sometimes lost in boredom, lost in shame, lost in unworthiness, lost in so many different things. And so with this paradigm shift that we're going through energetically, that we're also going through physically in where our whole solar system is moving within the galactic scale of things, we are in these positions right now of radical expansion for us to be able to shine our light. And that light is the unique gifts. So in all of that, Spirit is saying right now with the eclipse season is not to get too caught up on what you're seeing unfolding around you. Now that might sound very narrow to say, but I'm saying it in a way of when you see horrible things happening that you cannot physically do anything about from your perspective, to get completely caught up in it and allow your light to dim because of it for a long time doesn't help the collective. Choosing in those moments to feel the feels, absolutely feel the feels, but then send prayers, send energy, look at where maybe you can make an impact. Where can you donate? Where can you help? Where can you lend a hand? Where can you create a community prayer group, or so many different things. When you change that perspective and you choose to shine your light through this massive expansion that's happening, through this absolute paradigm shift where we really are splitting from 3D into 5D consciousness, this also helps you to find and express your unique gifts, to find your purpose. That's really where we're moving in this level of consciousness, is the ability to find pieces of our purpose. Now, here's the other unique thing, though, with purpose, is that it's never, well, I'm not going to say never, that's too bold. It's not often laid out in clarity of this is your purpose, go and do this purpose. For some people it is. For most people, it's not. It's a step-by-step process of following a feeling. So if you're stuck on wondering what your purpose is, the encouragement is to feel into the feeling that you are desiring. It doesn't have to have a label. Feel into the feeling. What does that feel like? And then what things in your world help to replicate that feeling? And then follow it from there. And it might be this step-by-step process where you feel like you're getting crumbs, but eventually those crumbs are going to be the entire cookie. And that is a beautiful thing. And so Spirit's saying, please don't dim your light right now as we go through these massive shifts. Please notice what is being revealed to you. Notice what is coming into your attention with the eclipses. If things come into your life that feel as if they crumble, a tower moment, something falls away during this eclipse season, ask yourself on a deeper level, what is that releasing you from? Because sometimes that is essentially what allows us to see our unique gifts. Maybe we don't realize that we have been shrouded or we have kept oppressed in some form. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a job that you've had where you've never been able to express and expand the way you want. And over the eclipse season, you lose your job. It's not a punishment. It's rather an alignment that helps free you into an opportunity to step into a brighter aspect of yourself. Or if your relationship has fallen apart, it may be giving you the opportunity to be reborn into the new you. There's a huge transformation taking place. And remember, This eclipse is coming at the end of 2023. We're in the end months of 2023, which is also the end months of the whole year, of the whole transformation from 2020 to 2024, which I've talked about so much, which is 100 years worth of growth and ascension in the span of 4 years. So being that we are in this energy of the last few months, hitting a very, very, very powerful eclipse season right now, the universe has been watching you the whole time. It has been watching you transform, release, surrender, heal, fight, fall down, get back up again, try again, triumph, all of the things. The universe, your guides, your spirit guides have been watching you, rooting for you, desiring for you to find that soul alignment, that part of you that does connect deeply into where it is you want to go. And so with that, with the eclipses, allow it to reveal what you need to see. And that also goes for allow it to reveal the good things that you need to see. Because on the other hand of it, or the other end of the spectrum, there are many people who are sometimes not willing to see the goodness in them. They're willing to do the hard work, and they're almost used to doing all the hard work. And then suddenly life happens where they're in a position where they can now receive the bounty, but they're not feeling willing to receive. For some of you, this eclipse season is going to reveal opportunities for you to receive goodness, receive gifts. And maybe for some of you, these are going to be these amazing strokes of genius, amazing insights, where then the universe is asking you to act on it. Say you have a dream of how to cure a certain illness, and then you test it out and you're like, this is accurate, but you're too afraid to do anything about it. These are opportunities for you to express the uniqueness of why you're here. And in that, for some of you too, this eclipse energy is freeing you up to be in a position where you can blossom, where you can be supported, where you can find those divine partnerships or divine groups where you can be supported in moving forward and honoring who you are. Because one of the greatest things, and I saw this recently, one of the greatest things that depletes our life force energy, the energy that is essentially our passion, our purpose, our life force, that heartbeat within the heartbeat, the soul's heartbeat. One of the greatest things that depletes that is when we are surrounded by people that either make fun of us, degrade who we are, make us feel unworthy, or anything like that. When you're surrounded by people that don't support who you are as a person, your triumphs and your pitfalls, then the universe is most likely going to try and shift you out of those dynamics into ones that do support you. Because if we go back to the idea of how we are splitting from 3D into 5D realities, those that are supporting others in helping humanity grow in consciousness in their own unique ways, they will be fractured from those that are not helping that. That's where the splits are happening. Those that are staying in a lower frequency of, say, drama and chaos, versus those that are wanting to step out into a community-based, how can we help the collective kind of energy. This is where a lot of the splits are happening. And so this is where Spirit really wants you to be observant of what's going on for yourself, making the choices of where you want to go, and then allowing yourself the opportunity to express the uniqueness that is you. So if that means one day you decide you want to wear fluorescent pink everything, fluorescent pink hat, sweatshirt, pants, shoes, scrunchie, lip gloss, whatever, right? Like, I know that sounds trivial, but if that's how you feel that day, there is such a freedom in being willing to do it, even if it's just one day. And you know what? That being said, Halloween is right around the corner. And for many of you that celebrate Halloween, like to get dressed up, what an opportune time to try a new expression of self. Because, hey, it's Halloween and you can write it off as that. But that may also just be this gateway for you to start being who you truly are. And if you already are feeling like you know who you are and what your unique gifts are, then stand in the power of owning them. Stand in the power of owning them. I had a guide come to me a couple weeks ago. And he said, own the land that you walk on. Own it without shame, without guilt, without fear of judgment. Own the land you walk on. And he wasn't talking about the literal land. He was talking about the body, the being, the vehicle that I am. Own it. Own it. And it's such a message for all of us, really, to own who we are and the purpose of who we are and what we are, and our willingness to discover what that is. Because again, we don't need to discover it and figure it all out right now. We need to be willing to discover it throughout our lifetime and then see what kind of an amazing journey there is. So, if you think about it, some of the most amazing people to talk to in their life journey is when, they're, say, in their 90s, and they tell you some of their life story. And in their stories, at one point they were, and I'm going to generalize here, but, at one point they were a pilot, and then they were a nurse in the war. And then they had the opportunity to sail across the seas. And then they spent a year in Morocco. And then they learned to, herd cattle in Arizona. And you listen to these stories and you're like, what? But that person never stopped discovering who they were. They were willing to try and continue to evolve and grow. And through that, learned so many amazing, unique gifts, when yet they were really expressions of the soul's desire. So all of that to say, Spirit is really sending the energy for this eclipse season for you to shine your light, to notice what you notice, and to allow the opportunity for your unique gifts to move through you. And to do that, you need to honor the authenticity that is you in the smallest of ways. And then as you do that, you take bigger and bigger steps to expressing that fully as you journey through the entirety of your life. So I will leave that with all of you today. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you want to join me and dive deeper into some of the roots of where, this unworthiness comes from, join me on Wednesday night in Cosmic Consciousness. It's going to be a really neat one. It ties into where we're moving on a galactic scale, and then it brings it all the way down to some of the first teachings in some of the most ancient scriptures. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to get deep, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and all of it is so that you can reclaim your authentic human life and what it means to be human. So I look forward to seeing all of you there, and have a beautiful rest of your week. I'll see you all next week.